Hello, Blue Jays fans. Welcome to episode 241 of the Jays from the Couch radio podcast, brought to you by, of course, jaysfromthecouch.com. Thanks for tuning in to another week, whether you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, wherever you're watching, we appreciate it. And every Sunday evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, tune in here live and you'll catch our episode every week. And, of course, if you miss it, don't worry, the audio version is on Apple, Google, wherever you find a podcast, you'll find it there as well. And, of course, follow us on all of our social media channels, Twitter at Jays from Couch, and, of course, Facebook and Instagram. You know, we're everywhere. So good evening. This is Sean Doyle. I'm your host as always. You can follow me on Twitter at Doyle JFtC. We've got a great episode for you this week. We've got a very special guest waiting in the quote-unquote green room. Hopefully he's not hitting the open bar too hard, but I'll bring him in here in a second. Jordan Romano's waiting. He's going to come in. We'll talk to him about a whole bunch of other things, and I've got a bunch of rapid-fire questions to throw at him just for fun at the end. So without further ado, Toronto Blue Jays reliever Jordan Romano, good evening to you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So first of all, before we get into the baseball stuff here, everybody feeling good, healthy, and all of that stuff, staying safe?
Yeah, I'm down here in Clearwater. I'm working out at the Jays spring training facility, and we're taking all the precautions. We're still getting tested regularly, so me, my family are safe, and so are the other guys that are working out down here.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Good to hear. So listen, down there in Clearwater, can you tell me about the training facility and with all of the upgrades and all of that stuff, how it's looking, how it's feeling, and how all the guys are enjoying it?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't ask for a much better facility. This one compared to the last one, I mean, state-of-the-art everything. We've been mostly in the weight room, and it is massive. They have a pitching lab there, covered turf field. I mean, it's really a ball player's dream. When I get to the facility, I really don't want to leave. That's how nice it is.
Nice. So what is in a pitching lab? Because for somebody like me, never heard of it before. I grew up, you go out and throw the ball and somebody tells you what to do, right? So what's the pitching lab?
So the pitching lab is I think it might be done, or it's like maybe a week or two away. But in the pitching lab, they'll have stuff like a Rapsodo. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but it's track and spin rate and break and all that stuff. But there's also things. It's a biomechanical. No, that's not it. It's you put like a suit on almost, and it kind of tracks your movements, if that makes sense. So I haven't tried that out yet, but that'd just be like a really useful tool just to see how you're moving, how you can be more efficient. So I'm kind of excited to get that up and running.
Now, if it were me, somebody who isn't in the game, obviously, but to me that would be too much for my head. So, how does a player like yourself go through all of the stuff in the lab there with and put on a suit even, and not have it kind of like overthink what you're doing on the mound there?
Yeah. So, like you said, especially at the big league level, there is so much information and so much data, you know what I mean? So if you're facing, say, the Yankees, you could look up, if you want to know what like LeMahieu hits on Tuesday nights, you have that stat. So for me, I like to keep it pretty simple, but I also like to look at the useful information. So, I won't dive like too deep into all the numbers, but I'll just kind of cherry pick what I like and use that. But yeah, so it's give and take. You have a lot of information available, but you can kind of get caught up in that, I think, a little bit too much. So I'm kind of more on the simpler side of things.
Amen, brother. Simple is best for me as well. Now, I have to ask, I really do, since you mentioned DJ LeMahieu, how much time and energy does a person like yourself or a player even put into this time of the year where off-season rumors are going crazy, especially this year for the Blue Jays?
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably like you. I'm watching it on TV and, just you hear rumors every day, about like a big signing or something. So I'm just watching and waiting, and I think I'm excited as probably you are. So I'm
Yeah.
just hoping, we could add some good talent.
It'd be nice, eh? Like, and not just to hear the rumors, but to actually have something we can point to. Because you got to be honest, the rumors are killing me here, dude. It's this guy, that guy, everything. Anyway, one question I do have for you, though, Jordan, is what was it like playing under the COVID restrictions with little cardboard cutouts in the stands and the fake music and all of that stuff?
Yeah, so I mean, they did a great job just kind of making it as realistic as possible. But again, that's there were no fans there. You guys couldn't come and watch, so that did that kind of was a drag because even like pregame, I kind of like going giving the kids balls, signing some autographs. So that did take away from it, but. I feel like after 5-6 games, you kind of get used to the cutouts, you get used to the pumped in music, and you just it becomes baseball again. You know what I mean? A different variation, but it was as good as it could have been.
Right, right. So I have to ask you, Canadian playing for the Blue Jays, what is that like?
So it's honestly pretty surreal. You know, going from being a fan at the Rogers Center, I've probably been to 30, 40 games there. And then stepping onto the field as a player for the first time, I mean, it was pretty cool experience. Just like looking back at all the work that I put in and kind of was a fan, and now it's like, wow, I'm here pitching for the hometown team. So it's really an awesome feeling.
Right, right. So now, Jordan, I know that I coming into the 2020 season, there was a change, maybe even to your pitching repertoire. And with regard, specifically, I'm thinking about the slider. So can you talk about the change for you from the previous season to now? Because the success certainly came, right? So what was it that you specifically changed?
So I wanted to get a lot more aggressive in the zone. I felt like the previous year, that'd be 2019, I was getting behind in a lot of counts. And it's really tough to pitch like that, especially at the big league level when you're always fighting to get back in a pitcher's count. So this year, especially, I really wanted to attack with strike one. And I felt like I did that. I was always in favorable counts. And the slider, I was trying out different grips all offseason, and I found one that worked, and I was able to throw it consistently for strikes, and with pretty good break, and it got a lot harder. So I kind of just fine tuned that slider over the last off season, and I kind of just put it all together and had a fairly successful season.
Indeed, you did, and congratulations on that. By the way, we're all like super pumped and like yes. So with that in mind, I have to ask though, which role do you prefer? Do you feel that it doesn't? Are you one of the guys that it doesn't matter? Just give me the ball and I'll go. Do you feel like you have to have a certain time, like maybe the ninth inning?
Yeah. So like you said, it's I'm happy to pitch whenever called upon. Definitely like the later innings. I kind of like that adrenaline, the nerves. It kind of gets me up in the morning. So I'll pitch whenever, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't want to be closing. So I definitely want to be closing this year.
And with that being said, then we know that unfortunately Ken Giles was hurt, and right now it doesn't look like the Toronto Blue Jays have one guy that you can say this is the closer. So I guess my question to you is, I know my personal choice, and I'm not just pumping your tires here because you're on the show, but you would be my personal choice. So I guess the question is, who, if not you?
I mean, there's in our bullpen. I felt especially this year, you could have thrown almost anyone into that closing position, and they would have done well. So it's I'm not going to take a guess as to who the closer is going to be this year. That's not up to me. So I'm just going to try to pitch my best, and hopefully I do get a few chances this year.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. And I apologize. I put you on the spot there.
Yeah,
That
no
wasn't
worries,
really fair to do. Speaking of though, the bullpen, we noticed one of the things that I noticed watching at home was that it seemed to be a group of guys who got along really well, always having fun and all that stuff. So, I guess who would be the most fun in that bullpen?
The most fun, I think. My pick for the most fun and like the funniest guy would probably be Dolis. He's an awesome guy. It was the first year with the Blue Jays, but I mean, he was always a riot down there, making people laugh, keeping things loose. So I'd say Dolis.
And how important is that in a bullpen group to have that kind of relationship with each other with some levity thrown in there?
Yeah, it's huge. Especially over the course of the season down there, you're with those guys every day, right? So if there's like tension or you can tell, some guys don't get along, it's probably going to make for a long year. Mm-hmm. But I really felt like in the bullpen this year, started off with like Bushman, the bullpen coach, keeping things really light, but also making sure like we were prepared for the hitters, right? So whenever we asked about a hitter, he always knew, the weak spots, hot spots. And I felt like our relationship down there, it really helped on the field too, because, say Baraki left a couple runners out there and I came in, I was fighting and clawing, trying not to let those runners score. And I think that was the same for everyone else in the bullpen. So it was a really good group, and I'm just excited for next year.
Mm-hmm. One thing I have to ask you about is the windup. How did that come to be? And we also have a viewer question here that kind of goes along with it with regard to using the pitching lab. Is there something in the pitching lab that you could use, whether or not it would help or hinder your delivery? So the windup, and then how can you incorporate pitching lab into that, or do you even?
Yeah, so the pitching lab, it'll definitely, I haven't been in it yet, but it will definitely help, hopefully, like, get my delivery a little more smooth, just so kind of show you where you're maybe not as smooth, and you can kind of work on that. So that would definitely help. The squat, I don't know if the pitching lab would help the squat or hurt the squat any, but going back to the squat, so I saw like Ken Giles, he's one of the best closers in the league past few years, and I saw him do like just a little, it was almost like a glute activation, a little knee bend. So I started with that, and it felt pretty good. And then I don't know, a couple weeks later, I was just doing a full squat, and then I was throwing solid, so I just kept it going.
Well, if it's working, right? Yeah. So you mentioned statistics and numbers and all of that stuff. Is there one stat that you look for within your own performance to say, I had a good season? Or is it more about feel?
You know what? That's a great question. You know what? I've never really like solely based the season on one stat, but you know what? My one stat I think would be for this year for me would be first pitch strikes. I would just look at that compared to the last year's total, and it was up quite a bit. And if I was just going off one stat that I felt, gave me a little vision into why I was successful this year instead of the past year, I would say the first pitch strike.
Do you happen to know what your jump was?
Oh man, I don't know exactly, but it was a considerable amount.
It was. Yep.
I don't know the exact amount though. But.
First pitch strike was 52% in 2019, and you jumped all the way up to 66.7%.
Yeah, so exactly there. I felt like just that's for every batter, just kind of giving me a better fighting chance throughout the course of that season.
Right. So lots of questions coming in here, and I'll just pop them up on the screen, one on Facebook and one on our YouTube channel as well, with regard to your injury. How are you doing? How are you feeling? And all of that.
Yeah. So the finger's feeling great right now. I've been having a normal off season. I think this is my 4th week into throwing, and finger feels great. It really hasn't been an issue since when I did it. It was hurt, rehabbed it, and then it's felt good ever since then. So I'm just hoping it stays the same and have a good, healthy season next year.
Amen to that. So we're sitting here with Jordan Romano, Toronto Blue Jays reliever. Jordan, what is the plan for the off season? Has the club given you kind of any direction as far as we need you to work on X, Y, and Z, or do you have something that you feel you wanted to work on?
You know what? They haven't given me like a concrete thing. Hey, you got to work on this. I do kind of want to not refine my slider, but just making sure it's the same shape consistently every game. Because I would have like some variance. Some days it would be more side to side. Some days it'd be more up and down. So I kind of want to lock in just the up and down slider, and just try to keep it consistent. So that's probably the one thing I'd be working on this offseason.
So we have a couple of viewer questions here. This one's from Michael. What was the toughest hitter you faced in the majors?
The toughest hitter, I would say Mike Trout. He's one of the best to ever do it, and so facing him, he got in the box, and I was like, wow, he's bigger than he looked on TV. So I'd say Mike Trout.
And was it just the physical kind of presence, or was there something that that he does at the plate that makes it that much more difficult?
Well, the past 5 years I've just been watching him hit homers off everyone. So then when he came in there, I was just kind of remembering all that. So that's probably what made him a tough hitter.
Right. Kind of the opposite of what you want to be thinking, really.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure you're not the only pitcher to have thought that when he steps in. Another one here from Matt on YouTube. What would you define as a successful 2021 season for the team as a whole and for yourself?
Well, I definitely think, especially since we made the playoffs this past year, I think a successful season would be going to the playoffs and going deep in the playoffs. I don't think there's any reason why we can't. And a successful season for me, I would say just a fully healthy season, make all my appearances, and just really be able to contribute to wins whenever I'm on the mound.
Right. Okay. All right, Jordan. It's the rapid fire questions time here before we let you go. And really, dude, this is like, don't think too hard on these.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Do you have one?
Yes, I have a 4-pound Shih Tzu poodle named Coco. She's the best.
How old is Coco?
Coco, well, she's a family dog. Coco's 15 now. She's a vet.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Nickname. Do you have one?
Nickname. Back home, guys call me Gord. And here, some guys call me Rocket Row. So those are the two, I guess.
I wonder why they call you that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just glad you didn't say J-Row or something, because I would have had to like hang up right now. And DH or no DH?
Selfishly, as a pitcher, no DH.
Fair. Yeah. Bunt or no bunt?
Bunt. Bunt's fine. Easy out. Yeah, bunt.
Free outs. Can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
What's the most exciting play in baseball?
Most exciting play in baseball? Maybe strikeout to end the game. It's all pitcher stuff, man.
See, and I was gonna say that play at home when the ball's coming in from left field.
Oh, that's pretty exciting. Only if he's out. Yeah.
Fair point. What's the most boring play in baseball?
Most boring play, probably like intentional walk.
Yeah.
Or sack bunt. It's fundamental, but it's kind of boring too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you think of the automatic intentional walk? Does that really help it speed up the game at all, or?
So it does speed up the game a little bit, right? But I always kind of liked you got to throw the pitches, because sometimes it gets crazy. Pitcher throws it away, you leave one in there. So I kind of liked having to actually throw the intentional walk, like throw the balls.
Mm.
I mean, I guess it speeds up the game. So,
Well, but I'm with you. I still remember Miguel Cabrera reaching out and poking one into like stuff like that. That can
I
just,
feel like that's cool. I feel like that's cool. That's fun.
Agreed. All right. Middle of the off season. What does date night look like for you?
Oh, date night. So just I guess I'm not too romantic, so probably just a nice dinner somewhere, outdoors, or maybe now just bring some food and I don't know, find an empty spot on the beach maybe.
Nice. All right. I have I have to ask you this one. You're walking in the store, okay? And you happen to look down and you realize you're walking the wrong way because the arrows are pointing the opposite way you're walking. What do? Do you keep going or do you turn around and go the other way?
So I've done this actually a couple times, and I turn around. I just try to just play it safe and just
You do not.
I swear, yeah, I'm pretty. You see, it's pretty plain and simple. The arrow's there, so I'm turning around.
I've missed them too, and the first thing I do, I'm not going to lie to you, it's just you and I here, we're friends. Yeah. I look around to see if anybody noticed.
Yeah, I just jump down. Ooh, did anyone see that?
Yeah, and then you got to move if they. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So when people talk about the minor leagues, what do you wish they knew?
The minor leagues, it's the definition of a grind. You're barely making enough to kind of cover your even bills and food. There's some leagues it's almost like you're paying to play baseball, and long bus trips, and it's really not glamorous. Like when I was going through the minors, I'd tell my buddies about it and be like, oh, it's so cool, you're living your dream. You are, yes, and I was very, very grateful for it, but it is it's a grind, and you're not getting a lot of money. It's tough, but it's worth it. You know what I mean? Even if I didn't make it to the big leagues, I think I'd still be a better person for playing in the minors.
Right. Fair enough. Last question. I'm going to throw it here to Facebook. We've got a question. Does Jordan think Major League games could be played in Dunedin?
Yeah, I definitely think so. From just like a stadium and facility standpoint, they remodeled the new the stadium down here, the spring training stadium, and it's in great shape, great field. So I definitely think they could play down here. With COVID, how it is down here, I doubt that would happen, but definitely could be played here.
Awesome. All right, Jordan, thank you so much for doing this. It was a lot of fun, and I deeply appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to sit down with us here.
Yeah, no problem. That was fun. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And listen, all the best. And I will say it, even though you didn't. Toronto Blue Jays closer of the future, Jordan Romano. Listen, all the best. Stay healthy. And we'll maybe even get you back on another time.
Yeah, will do. Would love to come back on. And just thanks again for having me. It was fun.
For sure. All right. You take care.
Okay. See ya.
All right. That was Toronto Blue Jays potential closer of the future, Jordan Romano. My pick, probably yours, unless, of course, you've lost your mind. You haven't been paying attention. Jordan Romano's got what it takes, in my opinion. You heard it here first. Anyway, we're just about at the end here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube or on Twitter. I deeply appreciate you taking your time to watch us live every week, Sundays, 7 p.m. Eastern time, in all of those channels. As well, the audio version will be on Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher. Everywhere you find a podcast, you'll find Jays from the Couch. Head on over to jaysfromthecouch.com for all your Blue Jays coverage this offseason. And that's it. We're at the end of our show. It's a quick one because we wanted to focus on bringing you this interview, and so glad we did. Actually, before I leave, I want to send a huge shout out. Huge. To Liz, thank you for putting me in touch with Jordan. It was awesome. I didn't expect it, but it was a lot of fun, and I deeply appreciate that, Liz. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. For Jordan, For Liz, for everybody here at Jays from the Couch, this is Sean Doyle. You can follow me on Twitter at Doyle JFtC. Hoping life throws you a juicy fastball down the middle and you don't miss it. Take care.